Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. At Sonny's new place, he tells Lois he watched Gio grow up, but cares enough to stay away from him if it's best for him. Sonny asks Lois if she trusts him around Gio, and she insists she does. Carly arrives and is surprised to see Lois. Carly explains she wanted to check out the new place and hopes she's not interrupting. Sonny says they were just talking about Gio. Lois and Sonny fill Carly in on Tracy's reaction to Sonny setting up an educational trust fund for Gio. Lois heads out, and Carly notes this is some investment he's making for Gio. Sonny says the Cirillos are his family and can't afford Gio's education, so he's happy to do it. However, Tracy pointed out that people get hurt because of him, and says just look at Michael. Carly says Michael is the other reason she stopped by. She reveals their son called her, and he's moving in the right direction. Sonny asks Carly to give him his love next time they talk. Carly believes Michael will call him, and he loves him too. Lulu confronts Brook Lynn. Lulu walks in the front door of the Quartermain mansion and finds Brook Lynn talking to Dante. Dante asks Lulu if everything is okay. Brook Lynn is glad to see Lulu and says Granny is on a tear and she's one of the few who can calm her down. Lulu says she's not doing Brook Lynn any favors after what she's done. Brook Lynn says, "Excuse me." Dante again asks Lulu if she's okay. Lulu reflects on finding out about the baby and Carly's advice. Lulu says she just doesn't want to get involved with Brook Lynn's issues with Tracy. Brook Lynn storms off, and Dante asks Lulu what that was about. Lulu states she's done coddling Brook Lynn like everyone else does. Dante is done refereeing her and Brook Lynn, and he has to deal with what happened between his dad, Gio, and Tracy. He takes off. Brook Lynn goes to her room, and Lulu pounds on her door. Lulu storms in and tells her to close the door as she doesn't want everyone in the house to hear this conversation. Brook Lynn asks what this is about. Lulu yells, "It's about how you've been lying to Dante for years." Brook Lynn tells Lulu she is done being nice to her for her granny's sake, so if she has something to say it. Lulu tells her, "You had Dante's baby and never told him." Brook Lynn is stunned. Dante apologizes to Sonny. Dante drops by his father's new place and jokes if he had a priest come in to cleanse the place of the Cassidines. Dante wanted to come apologize for what Tracy said and say that what he's doing for Gio is generous. He wishes he had spoken up for him. Sonny says if he agrees with Tracy, he doesn't have to apologize. Dante doesn't agree with Tracy and says Jason and Michael all are lucky to have him in their lives, and he appreciates him. Dante asks why this Gio thing is bothering him. Sonny doesn't want Gio to feel forced to take his money. Dante suggests he tell Gio he doesn't have to take his money, and it won't cost him their relationship. Sonny shifts to how Dante is doing. Dante thought that finding out what happened to Sam would give him closure, but it hasn't. He believes he's having a hard time managing because of Lulu. Lois returns to the Q mansion looking for Tracy, but Ned said she's out for a ride. Lois says Tracy's gone too far and fills him in on Tracy interfering in Sonny's offering Gio an educational trust fund. Ned believes that this time his mother is right. Lois snaps that he's never liked Sonny, but Ned guesses his mother probably wondered why she's letting Gio tie himself financially to Sonny. He knows she's loyal to Sonny, but what if Gio wants to follow in Sonny's footsteps to repay his debt one day? Ned is also confused, as she usually has guardrails up when Sonny's money is concerned. So why is it different when Sonny's money involves Gio? Brook learns she had a boy. In Brook Lynn's room, she won't confirm or deny anything Lulu has said. Lulu says she saw Martin's files and knows she had a son and gave him up for adoption and never told Dante. Brook Lynn cries, "I had a son." Lulu says she would almost buy this emotional act if she hadn't seen Martin's notes. She accuses Brook Lynn of hiring Martin to find her boy and shows her the phone photos she took of his notes. Brook Lynn says he never went to Martin. She explains she had a baby she gave birth in San Francisco, and she didn't know if she had a girl or boy. She never even held him. She tells Lulu she has never looked for him, and she never talked to a lawyer. Lulu says then her mother did, as Lois showed up at Martin's room. Brook Lynn asks how Lulu got this information. She quickly realizes Lulu broke into Martin's room and obtained this info illegally. Brook Lynn says this has nothing to do with Lulu. Lulu says her son Rocco has a half-brother. She says Dante cares about her, and she believes Brook Lynn cares about him. How could she have his son and never tell him? Brook Lynn reminds Lulu that she got pregnant in high school and made a choice, and people supported her. She made a different choice to give her child a better life, as she wasn't ready to be a mother. If she told Dante, then her choice would have been taken away from her. Brook Lynn tells her not to judge her for her choice. Lulu says she's not judging her for her choice, but her lies. If Brook Lynn doesn't tell Dante now, she will. Sidwell sets Alexis up. At Windermere, Alexis asks Sidwell where he found that dagger. He says it was in a cabinet downstairs. She thinks it should be at the bottom of the harbor, which is where she threw it. Alexis explains Helena Cassadine owned it. She was her stepmother, and she used it to slit her mother's throat. Sidwell is stunned and offers her a drink, but she says she's sober. He makes himself one and asks if she witnessed her mother's murder. He quickly apologizes and says his curiosity often gets the better of him. Alexis explains that Mikos was her father, her mother Kristen was his mistress, and yes, Helena murdered her mother right in front of her. Sidwell is sorry. She notes he doesn't seem like someone who is easily shocked. He thinks she doesn't seem like the person who would share this with a stranger. She picks up the dagger and says it keeps reappearing like it's haunting her. She says holding it again is horrific and throws it down. Sidwell asks what she wants him to do with it. He says he can take it if she wants, as Helena left it to her. She tells him it came with the house, so it's his property now. Alexis sees herself out, and Sidwell picks the dagger up with a cloth so his prints don't get on it. Jordan and Isaiah have dinner, and more. Isaiah stops by Jordan's place. She was expecting a food delivery and squeals as she's in a robe, has her hair up, and has a face mask on. He laughs that it's nice to see her for once not looking perfect. She cleans herself up, and he admits he ran into the delivery guy bringing her lunch, and it's now all over the sidewalk. He offers to make it up to her and cook something, but she has very little in the kitchen to work with. Isaiah manages to whip up pasta with what she has. She is impressed and asks why he stopped by. Isaiah says to see her, and he thought they had to pursue this in private, with her going after Sidwell publicly. He doesn't want to pressure her, and if she's not ready for anything, that's okay. However, he is very interested in seeing what this could be between them, even if it's just here in this apartment. Jordan admits she thought meeting in secret would be sexier, and here she is in sweats. He tells her she is sexy, but he can go for a run to get sweaty if need be. She can think of other ways to work up a sweat and pulls him into a kiss. After they pull away, Isaiah tries to push Jordan to give up busting Sidwell so they don't have to sneak around. She refuses, and if he doesn't want to do this her way, then he can opt out. Outside of Bobby's, Jack takes a call from Colette, updating him on Joss' progress. Carly arrives and finds Jack sitting at a table and thinks back to their discussion on the pier. She approaches him and didn't expect to see him here again. He smiles at her. He wants to know what happened between them the other night and how they got off track. Carly tells him that she was fooling herself into thinking that their lives were compatible. He tries to change her mind, saying he wants a commitment, but she says she has to be honest with herself about their differences. Jack tells her to take care of herself and departs. Joss proves herself worthy. At the WSB training facility, Joss thinks back to saying goodbye to Dex. Her handler, Vaughn, appears and says her break is over, and it's on to the next phase. They work at jabs and punches, and Vaughn antagonizes her as she's been up for 48 hours. He's read her files and knows she's a rich girl, so why this? Why is she here? Joss says she's seen people die and others use their power to hurt people, so she wants to balance the scales. He tells her if she means that, there's the door and points to it. Vaughn calls her an idealist, and there is no room for that here. He says the WSB changes people, and there is no one more corrupt than a person who used to have ideals. She asks if he believes in anything. He calls himself pragmatic. She tells him that they aren't the same, and she can't give up what she believes in. He flips her and tells her, rule number 1, never fight fair. He asks if she still thinks she has what it takes after pinning her a second time. He tells her she needs to pull out all the stops to survive. Pull, scratch, bite. She kicks him in the nards, and he goes down. She says, something like that. He groans, yeah. On the next General Hospital, Lulu pushes Brook Lynn to make things right, and Viletnin tells Charlotte it's time they say goodbye.